at 6:32 p.m. This meeting is being held remotely as an alternative means of public access pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of the 2023 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You're hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with MGL Chapter 30A, subparagraph 20F, so the chair may inform all participants of said recording. The meeting is being recorded. All right, so we have 4 agenda items today, 3 continuances and 1 new item of business. So for the 3 continued, well, actually I do this 2 at a time. So for 182 South Street and 256 South Street, the voting members are the same as the last meeting, which will be Eric, Josh, Marianne, and myself. We have everybody? Yes. And for the new agenda item, 3 Blaisdell Road, that will be myself, Eric, Justin, Carol, and Catherine. And the continued item from 1020 Main Street, I'm going to keep it as the 3 voting members from the last meeting, which is just Eric, Josh, and myself. So it's only 3 voting members on that item.
I am up to date on the, I watched the video, so I am up to date.
Good. Me too. Me too. So you can have 5 if you want.
I think for continuity, I'm just going to keep it at the 3 of us, just to keep everything consistent for that. And then we have 2 meeting minutes to go over. So for the first agenda item, 182 South Street, Lincoln Historic District, construct a south-facing 2-story addition, porch, existing fence will be relocated. I think the 2 biggest feedback items was we were looking for fence details and product cut sheets. And then also there was feedback about a 2nd floor window on whether or not to add it and how it worked with the elevations. Those were the 2 big items I had. Eric, Josh, Marianne, if I'm missing something, please let me know. Okay.
Bonnie, I think the commission had asked for more detail on some of the elements. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I emailed them.
You sent that. Yep.
Okay. Good.
Yep, we got them.
Okay. Yeah, the details, window spec and door spec and fence drawing, the wind and the also fence photographs to match the fence.
There we go.
And also the adding of the windows, the ones on the main part of the house in the middle, with the 2-foot spacing. Is that, I think that's more in keeping with the fabric of the existing house, not having them next to each other, mulled together like the addition.
Yeah, I think that was Eric and Josh's, I think specifically Eric's comment. I don't remember, Eric, I'm going off of memory, I can't remember. I just had it in my notes. There was a question about the 2nd floor window, and I'm not sure if it got moved or what your thinking was.
It got moved.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was an added, do we have the existing elevation just to show side by side? I think that's useful. I don't think it was in the new package.
No, but I can
it's in the old. Yeah.
I can probably get the old one up 1 second.
It just showed the 2 instead of 24 inches apart, they were mulled together.
Gotcha. I can put those side by side if you give me 1 second.
In the current existing conditions, the right-hand windows on the top and the bottom exist, and then you'll be adding the middle windows on the both levels.
Yes.
I actually don't have a digital version of those from last time. I think I only have a printed version.
All right, I think the existing, there's just 2 windows on each floor
Yes,
where the easier see.
Oh, I see now.
So they're on both floors. So it's like they're adding a 3rd window in the row.
And then the windows to the right and the addition, it's a little hard to tell from the sketch, but they're not lined up. The top are bigger than the bottom, or it looks, there's an illusion, or what's happening there?
oh yeah, that is kind of, well, the small ones are relocated and the other ones are new, but there should be about the same size. Or we could make them all new and all the same. Well, the first floor windows are bigger than the second floor windows everywhere, even in the new addition. So that would carry through then for the new addition. To have them have the second floor windows are 2, 8, 4, 5, and the first floor windows are 2, 8, 4, 7.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So I think the biggest things, so they were mulled before, and now you've spaced them 2 feet. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
And then I think the other things we asked for were, I think, let me just rotate through here. I think we asked for a section. I can't remember if we had this last time, to show the height of the ridge and the relationship to the rest of the house. And then, yeah, we'd asked about the products of the existing. So this is what we're matching, is the existing trim details, corner board, existing lighting to be reused. And then this is
The privacy.
this is the existing privacy fence.
Yes.
Okay. And then this is the eave detail. So aluminum gutter, fiberglass shingles, green venting with the corner board. Okay. Any feedback on the commission on this detail with regard to anything we're showing on here? Aluminum gutter versus like a fiberglass gutter versus wood gutter. Is there any
Are
comment?
fiberglass approved in a districts commission for additions?
Traditionally, yeah, the fiberglass profiles now that are made to match the wood profiles. I know that we've approved those in the past, and I've seen quite a few in the districts. I don't know, there's a strong feeling about aluminum gutters.
I'm the wrong one to ask on that.
I think the fiberglass gutters approximate the wood gutters much more accurately than the aluminum.
Oh, okay.
And they're paintable, of course.
I would echo that sentiment.
Sure.
Great detail. All right, so 1x3, 1x8 board. Go through this. Trim detail at the bottom. Cut sheet for the window. Marvin Ultimate Wood double hung. So it's a little bit different in size. Awning window. Cut sheet details. Brasco wood mahogany with a side light. Okay. Back to this. Anything else that you want to share with us that is useful, or we ready for comments from the commission?
I guess one thing, I don't know if you noticed, I just dropped the plate height on the addition by 4 inches, so it doesn't meet exactly to kind of offset it. And it will also have white cedar shingles instead of clapboards, again, to distinguish it. It's also set back 1 foot 4 inches from the existing corner boards, the existing house, so it's offset.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to kind of, because there's no plan here that we're looking at, so just to give a profile.
Okay. Eric, Josh, Marianne, anybody else? Anybody have comments, questions?
Not from me.
I do.
Go ahead, Catherine.
So on the elevation facing Hersey Street, so the left sides of the windows are aligned, or are they centered on the middle mutton?
Oh yeah, no, they'll be centered. They'll be yeah. They'll be
Okay,
centered.
they're centered. Okay. I don't think I have anything else.
Carol, Josh, Marianne?
The windows that are called out as being existing and relocated, are they historic windows, or are they a replacement window that's being reused?
They're Marvin windows, the same with a 5/8 Muntin, simulated divided lights, wood.
The ones that are being, the existing that are being relocated are also, they're Marvin? Okay.
Yeah, they're from a previous edition. There's a new edition, like, I don't know, maybe the 90s. Well, not that new, or maybe I don't, just fairly new. And this other window on the addition is going to be one of the upstairs existing windows also to be relocated. Yes, they're not replacement windows. They're real new. Well, they're probably like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years old now, Marvin windows.
Oh, I have one other question. I'm seeing on the second floor in the addition, it says a new box bay window. So that protrudes out.
Yes, it protrudes out 1 foot.
Yeah.
But you can see it a little bit on the section.
Yeah, okay. That, I'm not sure I feel that that's appropriate for a historic home. Having that jut out.
I would agree with that.
There's one there now on the current edition, so that's why.
Oh, and the lower, the one floor, the first floor edition.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this is a different kind of application. It might be
because it's on a 2-story edition. The other one is a 1-story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can see why you kept it and added it, but I have concerns that it's really quite a contemporary thing that exists in our time. It's not. Any other commission members feel that way?
I agree, Catherine.
I agree too.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Neela? You can take that out. Yeah.
I mean, just to be I guess a contrarian, I certainly see that, but because it's in the new part of the home and it's not on the original part of the home, it doesn't bother me so much. Because the new part of the home, again, we're separating with different siding. Having that sort of updated detailing doesn't bother me. It's on the new part of the home, I feel the same, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree on the technicalities of that, but I think it is a modern bit of a feel.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole house is in a historic district addition plus existing house. So I would think some of our overlay should.
Where's the existing box window? I don't see
Okay. It's, I guess it in the inside, it's not really boxed out, is it? Yep. I was just thinking it was because in the inside it's built in and there's a window seat there.
Okay. Yeah, so it's all interior based.
Yeah.
For the record, I concur with Eric. I think the materials are sympathetic, and I don't think that it's necessarily incompatible.
I think it'd be quite awkward to have this foot depth jut out on the second floor, jutting out into the kind of the streetscape. Really feels, I don't think we've ever, well, I don't think we've ever come across that in an application, but
Where is that best depicted in the drawings in the application?
What we're talking about?
Is it just page 1?
Yeah, it's just that first page. It's just, there's a note that says new box bay window.
Right.
and the roof is a little shedded there over it to accommodate it.
Yeah.
It's on sheet 4 of last week's as well.
Yeah, it was there. It's always been there. But yeah, so we could take that out and just put 2 windows that are spaced out like say 2'6", like most of the rest of the house. And then we wouldn't do the mulled windows downstairs. We'd maybe space them out also. What do you think?
I don't like designing on the fly when we're doing this. So I think you have, it also makes for a kind of a muddy motion. I think you've heard some of the commission members some have some maybe pause or reservation, but and others I think are more supportive and actually thinks it's advantageous. So my advice would be if this is the preference of the design and the applicant, I would stick with that. It was on the application last week. We didn't provide that as feedback last time as something to reconsider or study. So that would be my advice and feedback on that.
Okay, very good. That's good.
So I think that for me, the biggest thing, I think the privacy fence makes more sense now. I can visualize that. And that's just coming across, matching that. So that makes a lot more sense. The cut sheets are helpful. Asphalt shingles are helpful. When you say white, is that unpainted or painted?
Painted.
Okay. We don't need to get into color, but just that actual white's kind of a general term. Just
right. And isn't it also a species of wood, white cedar?
Yes, exactly. That's why I asked. So if you plant it,
they'll be natural. No, those won't be painted.
Those are natural. Okay. All right.
I thought you were talking about corner boards. Yeah, all the colors of paint will match existing.
That's fine. I just wanted to clarify if those were painted white cedar shingles or natural. So that's fine. Okay. I think that's all I have.
I'm curious about the fence. Could we just review that one more time and look at that photograph or the plan one more time on the fence? So it will come straight across, and then where the current low fence is, the little picket fence along the drive, it's going to return, and it's also going to be 6 feet high all the way across. And in closing, if you look at that last photograph we were just looking at, it appears like there's some arborvitae, and then there's a fence on the inside. So yeah, so
it's old. There's a 6 foot high fence on the car side of the arborvitae.
Oh, so this is in the current photo.
No, this is from October of 2019.
Yeah.
A new picture?
Yeah, there was a new picture with my packet from looking at it from the inside, though. Yeah, there it is. And it turns the corner, see? So that would just go straight across.
Yeah, so it's basically extending it right there.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other commission questions, comments? Anybody from the public wish to provide comment or feedback? Any commission members want to make a motion?
I can make a motion then.
Thank you, Eric.
I move that we issue a certificate of appropriateness to 182 South Street in the Lincoln Historic District to construct an addition, install a fence with new two-story addition, south facing, totaling 577 square feet. All new materials, eave, trim, and window details will match existing. Existing fencing and landscaping will remain the same. And fencing will be relocated as shown on the site plan provided in the, I don't know if I have the date of the submission. Per the drawings dated, the date on the drawings is November 20th, 2023, with additional drawings dated March 21st, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mary Ann, how do you vote?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
That's an aye for me. So thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate it. And we'll see you again at some point.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bonnie. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neela.
Thank you. Take care.
Good night.
Okay, next agenda item is continuance from last meeting. The O'Hara's 256 South Street, Lincoln Historic District, remove existing screen porch to be reconstructed, extending first floor to create a 4-season porch. I think our main comments last meeting, commissioners provided feedback about the compatibility of the windows, 8/1 versus 9/9, 2 windows versus 3 windows, the coordination of the coin detailing at the corners, asking for trim details and cut sheets, and provided some feedback on, and this was a mixed one, on whether or not the railing and the roof made the most sense. So I think those were our primary feedback. I don't think we need to go through the whole packet, but I do know that we got an email a little while ago with some updated information. I don't know if I need to share the screen or if Monica, you're going to share.
I think Matt's going to do it with me.
Yeah, I can do it then. And apologies in advance. The entire Hingham High sailing team is in my house, so there might be some notes. But Monica, where do you want to start the elevations?
I think we should start with the front elevation.
Give me 1 sec. And please just let me know when you can see the, what do you see, the meeting notice?
I can see the main house. Yep, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we separated the windows to 2 instead of the 3 that we had. We added the shutters to match existing. We changed the railing so that it's a little bit shorter. It's 2'10" at the newel and 2 feet for the actual balusters. We the corner board would be 1.1 by 6. The coining would be continued and match existing. We would wrap it around the side, repair it, replace where it needs to be replaced, where it was cut. The water table would match existing, and the casing and back band would match existing. And we have suggested the Marvin Ultimate double hung wood window. And there's cut sheets to be shown, which we can show you. On the side elevation, similar, we have the 3 windows across the side, no shutter, same balusters and railing details, an M-Tech railing system. Hampton is the name of the style. We also proposed on this drawing, it's a fiberglass composite gutter to mimic wood. But I also would like to ask the commission if they would consider a wide round aluminum gutter, just because of cost. The fiberglass gutter is the same price as the wood gutter, and it's a lot of money. So where it wraps around the side and where you really can't see it from the street with the bushes and so forth, I'd like you to consider that just as a cost issue. You can see the new coining on the side elevation, that it will be complete and full, and that the addition will move backwards. I also wanted to clarify, I think it might have been confusing, that the existing structure that's coming down, or potentially coming down the porch, it was, you know, we don't know when it was built. It's a new development, but you step down from the house into the porch. And what we're trying to do is it's actually shouldn't be considered a porch. It's an extension of the room to the left of the front door at the same floor height elevation to make that space larger. So it's interior space. It's not a porch. And I think that might have been confusing at the last meeting, thinking that it was some sort of a porch addition. We have cut sheets of the railing showing the sizing. Newels versus the balusters. We have the Marvin windows with the sizing. The front elevations, the front elevation windows. We are 30 by 3/8 by 57.5. So that's to match the pane size of the front, and the sides are a very similar size. 30.5 by 56. I think that's it.
To provide feedback on the question you asked about the round gutter, do you have a cut sheet for that? Just because they range, even if you want to take a minute and just pull up what you're thinking, or if you know, just because I've seen a lot of variety in that.
Well, I just did it in a historic home in Duxbury. And we used a 6-inch aluminum gutter, and it was just a round 6-inch aluminum gutter. One of the gutter choices was a little bit of a thicker material and had actually holders that held up the gutter. The one that we chose was more plain and a little bit thinner in material, 6-inch gutter. And we did it because the size of the profile matched the wood gutter on the rest of the house.
And then finish for that?
It would be white.
Okay. I'll start with other commission members to see if they have any questions or comments. Marianne?
I don't think I do. Thank you.
Okay. Catherine, I see you.
So we still need a cut sheet on the gutter.
Yeah, I can provide it.
Skip me, come back to me. I'm still formulating.
Is the gutter on is it on 3 sides of the addition or just on the?
It's on 3.
Okay. And you said it's called out on there as a wood profile fiberglass gutter, but you want to kind of on the fly.
I just want to ask you if that might be considered, and I could provide you the cut sheet.
Okay. And then my last question, I don't have the digital copy of this, but are the windows the same height as the existing windows? Are they slightly taller than the existing windows?
Dan, are you on there?
I'm here.
Oh, Dan, did you hear the question?
Yeah, yes, it did.
Oh, that Dan, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, that guy.
They're as close as we could get with a standard size. They're within a fraction of an inch of being the same. And
Okay.
Monica didn't quite mention it. We're trying to match the light and size. So we have a 9 window versus the existing, which is 15/15.
Right. Okay.
But that's still the height of the window looks like it's a little bit higher than the height of the existing first floor windows in the main house. So I think that was the question. Not so much the size of the window, but the height of the window, the top rail.
The height, yeah.
The casing.
My only concern is that it doesn't look like they are secondary to those existing windows. It looks, they look to my eye. They're not, I don't see dimensions, but it looks to my eye like they're a little taller.
They are a little bit. The existing windows are approximately 4'4". The 9/9 windows that were shown are like 4'6", and just got to check the image.
We're trying to match them as closely as we can because on the interior space too, which I know is not the commission's issue, but we would like all the windows in that room to look like they're part of that room. We don't really want to have a difference in size. But if Dan's saying they're as close as they get, they're either possibly 2 inches high or 2 inches low.
I think the issue is that it's because they're taller, they're standing out as more important. If the top rail is brought down so that maybe the window sits lower in the addition, maybe that would have impact on the way the addition is reading. Is that right? Is that what you were thinking, Josh? Or who has said that, Eric?
No, it was essentially along those lines. I may be all by myself though, so.
No, I agree. I'm trying to articulate.
But if that's the closest size window, perhaps we could split the difference. If there's a 2-inch difference, maybe we could drop those windows by 1 inch and have them be 1 inch down and bring the lower sash down by 1 inch. I think it's also important to remember that this addition is not flush with the front of the house.
Right. It also doesn't help that the windows are treated a little differently. They're black. They're in nighttime mode, and the other windows are in their reflecting mode. So it isn't it's hard to.
Meaning in the drawing.
In the drawing, right.
Yeah.
They're blacked out on one side and light in the other. So they are protruding out. So it's a little difficult to gauge their weight in comparison.
Well, if you want, I can share this. I have the CAD file open. I can share the screen and turn the hatch off.
No, I don't want to take up everybody's time. It's not a hill that I'm going to die on. I do appreciate the changes from the last meeting. So,
Anything else, Josh?
no, that's it.
Eric, any feedback, comments?
Just to be clear for everyone, maybe everyone caught this, but the railing above is a PVC railing. It's not a wood railing, so it's a PVC system. It's a nice PVC system. As far as appearance and setback from the road, I'm probably hard to tell the difference, but I just wanted to point that out. Generally, we do ask for wood systems. It's on the roof, it's not on the ground, so there's certainly mitigating circumstance for maintenance and such. I'm not necessarily sold on the shutters, which are also a composite shutter. Again, we usually try to get wood shutters and they look undersized. And maybe it's a personal thing, but if you're going to put shutters on, have shutters that actually would function, even if they are fixed, to close and cover the entirety of the window. So they look, at least in the drawing, they look undersized. I don't know if that's the intent, where they'll be sized to actually
Are those existing? Those shutters?
No,
No, they're not.
So the house, the application is to add shutters to the main body of the house in addition to the addition.
No,
I'm
the
looking
main,
at Google Maps. The picture there has
the
shutters.
main body of the house does have shutters on it. They're fixed.
Yeah.
And they're not half the width of the existing windows. That's so I agree. I mean, in theory, they shouldn't be half the width of the window to function as an operable, but the existing shutters are not the ones that are in the main house.
Correct. So just to be clear, there are shutters that are already on the existing house, which
Correct.
are undersized, but that's there. That's not necessarily what I'm commenting on. I'm just commenting on the addition. If you're adding shutters, it seems like you're matching the same size of the house. Maybe that's the right move so that they don't look larger and throw off the scale and attention to the addition. But I guess I have a question about it in my head as far as if it makes sense. I can't remember your original edition. I think you had no shutters on the original submission. I'm not opposed to that. I don't feel like it needs shutters. I'm not saying it shouldn't. Again, I'm just trying to wrestle in my head if it makes sense or if they should be sized to the right size. But those are my main comments, questions for the rest of the commission and myself.
I'm thinking that those windows are narrower than the main windows. So with the main windows having shutters that are basically too small for the main windows, if you put wider shutters that would be, dimensionally correct on those two windows, it would be odd.
I think you're probably right. I probably agree with you on that. It's just going to showcase them too much. The main house, are those composite shutters as well, or are those wood?
They're really old wood for shutters.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that the house originally did not have the shutters on it.
Yeah, I think that's historic.
Got added at some point in history, but that's fine.
I'd also like to just point out for historic interest that this side of the house has a one shutter between two windows, so if someone measured incorrectly, the windows are actually not spaced equally.
Yeah,
in the historic house.
It's interesting.
Call it quirk.
Quirk, or someone couldn't measure quite correctly.
Catherine's a big fan of that. So
just a quick question. Are the shutters hung with shutter hardware or are they nailed on?
They have hardware.
We haven't approved synthetic shutters or synthetic railing, I don't believe.
Nope.
In the past.
I don't think that would be an issue from my perspective.
And in this scenario, adding, I think it's probably better to match the existing presentation to the street.
Or take them all down.
Or take them all down.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. That's not the application.
Right, that's not in the application.
Right. We're focused on the addition. Any other comments, Eric?
No, that's it.
Okay. Justin?
My only comment is I would opt for matching the existing shutter trim. I guess.
I can get the exact replica of that old shutter that's on the old house from again, at a substantial cost to match exactly the front of the house, or we could easily get the Brosco shutter in the appropriate size and paint it black to match the house in wood.
Not speaking for the commission, but I think that would be fine if it's sized correctly, and I don't think we need a replica.
Perfect.
But I do think we'd want wood. And I think we would also say no, if you don't want to do shutters at all on that portion, you're welcome to not add shutters.
So just leave them off the new portion.
I think that would be more appropriate than adding more inappropriate shutters.
I would support that as well.
about a wood railing? Would we recommend a wood railing rather than the PVC that hasn't heretofore been approved?
My feeling about PVC, it often has got a shine and a sheen to it. And,
I think you should.
you know, they try and make it smooth so that it doesn't collect algae and that kind of thing. And so it often has a little bit of a sheen. So it is, and it's perfect, you know, versus wood, which is a little softer, a little bit more in keeping with the historic district.
I don't want to say it's an easier sell, but I think that would resolve a lot of questions if it was wood. But again, I don't want to force it.
Wood is easy to say yes to.
Matt?
Wood is fine. Yeah, we have wood on the back, which you can see here. So I'm fine with wood.
Okay.
And fine also with not having shutters.
Okay. Any other commission members have any comments? Can't remember now who's chimed in now and who hasn't had a chance. Okay. The only comments I have, I think, were more along the lines of the shutters also, but it seems like that's been resolved. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys took to heart a lot of our feedback and definitely incorporated it and modified. And, you know, I think we all appreciate that in taking it into consideration. Anybody from the public want to make a comment? I see Gary's hand up.
Yes, if I could, Gary Tondorf, Dick, 1029 Main Street. I just had some information that I want to offer. I rather like the presentation, and in terms of the spacing of the windows on the street side of the house, you might find that the right-hand portion of this house is original, because typically if they built that a 3-bay wide house like a Nantucket 2-story house, the windows would be close together. It might indicate that the left side of the house is later than the right side. It's just something that you might want to look into, just more for your own information on the history. And then the only other comment I would have is I've had very good luck with the shutter mill up in New Hampshire. They make very nice wood shutters and they have all the hardware. If you're interested in pursuing that, it's you know, a vendor, a manufacturer that's quite good. So those are my only two comments, and I just wanted to offer that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Anybody else from the public wish to provide a comment?
I just wanted to thank you, Gary, for that, because that's actually consistent with the inside paneling, which the oldest piece is on that right-hand side from your street view. In the back portion of that is obviously newer paneling, but the original paneling has been preserved in that right corner that you're looking in the bottom floor.
You probably find that the original paneling is a Georgian raised panel, whereas the newer paneling on the left side of the house is probably more of a flat panel, like a more of a federal later period. Even this is a Georgian house.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But a lot of the houses on South Street were that way. They started out as 3-bay, 2.5 story, and they were enlarged to 5-bay.
Thanks, Gary. Any commission members wish to make a motion?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, did we resolve the question of the aluminum gutter?
Oh, I was just.
Without a visual, it's hard to.
Yep, that's why
it's hard to make a decision on that.
1 second. Is this, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong, but we were describing what I've seen available. I just need to share my screen. If you could stop sharing, thanks. I believe this is what you're describing, the 6-inch half round aluminum gutter.
Yes.
White. And then trying to see if I can find the brackets for you. I know which ones they're like this.
I thought you said that the brackets, you weren't going to do brackets.
We didn't do them in Duxbury. They gave us, I had the actual samples of both, and we were trying to have the same profile as the wood gutter. And I thought that the brackets because the brackets were underneath the gutter. See how that's above the gutter, holding the gutter open. The brackets that he just showed that hold it up look like it's hanging. There was a lot of them, and I thought they were just too busy for the house.
So you're going to do just a half round gutter?
Yes.
With not using these or the undermount ones?
No, they have a way to secure them onto the, right onto the piece of wood that it goes onto. And so they look, yeah, those mounting, there were a ton of those, and they were busy, and it was competing with the wood gutter, which was more simple. And so we did the 6-inch half round, no underneath hanging, and it looks, the profile, because of the size, I believe, it looked great.
No gallery here.
I can bring a sample, or I can get the actual sample so that I can show you. And you can see if you like it. I mean, it would be the last thing happening.
I don't want to slow you up over a gutter tonight.
Right.
So,
we have approved these in the past.
yeah.
Yeah.
If the commission trusts Andrea and I to go off of what we've approved in the past, we could do a cut sheet later and just leave that out and they follow up with a cut sheet. Or if the commission really wants to see it, we could just have them come back at a later date. I know I want to get them going and don't want to hold the process up over just this gutter. So I'm comfortable with either direction. There's a strong opinion, we can have them come back, but I think Andrea and I can parse this out.
I think you can.
I would support.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to work that into a motion as part of the terminology and language, that would be great.
Catherine, are you volunteering?
No, I'm trying to figure out how I can do it. I don't have anything in front of me, so I don't think I can do it effectively. I'm passing to somebody else. I'd like to, but I can't.
Well, Eric.
I can do it. I got that.
Thanks.
This is why you become the chair, so you don't have to make motions anymore.
That's right.
Hold on for that. Okay. I move that we issue a certificate of appropriateness to 256 South Street in the Lincoln Local Historic District 2 to remove an existing screen porch, replace with new extension of the existing room, a 4-season to be clear, propose new replacement new replacement, sorry, I can't read that one piece, windows, and have a flat roof with a wood railing of painting or left raw wood railing above. Decision on homeowner whether they want to keep the shutters or remove them, if both are acceptable. Again, wood shutters, if they do go with the wood shutters, to match as close as possible to the existing. And then to follow the rest of the plans that were dated, or imagery that was dated 4/1/2024. I think that's it. And with the one note to present a new gutter option just for administrative review to Andrea and Commission Head Dan.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion?
Quick question. We approved the clapboard at the last meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Great.
I do have a quick.
We didn't approve anything at the last meeting, but we discussed it.
Okay. There were two applications actually, I think, right? That we were considering simultaneously.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, Josh. One was administrative because it was just replacing the existing clapboard because it was a maintenance and repair issue.
That was the non-applicability, right? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
we
correct.
didn't approve. Yeah, exactly.
So I took care of that.
Great.
With
Catherine, you had
Monica.
a comment though?
I did. I think Eric said something about raw wood for the porch railing, and I don't think that is going to be appropriate. I think he said painted or raw. And then I thought we agreed no shutters on that side.
We agreed there would be an option for the owner.
Oh, we agreed there was going to be an option. Okay. I thought we were under agreement that there would be no shutters. Okay.
But if they did go with shutters, they would be wood and match the size on the elevation that exists.
And what about the paint on the railing? That needs to be there. Can't be untreated wood.
Monica, are you planning to paint that?
It's going to be painted. Painted.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? Eric, how do you vote?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
Aye for me. Monica, Mr. O'Hara, thank you for coming back. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Nice job. Thank you. It's going to be nice.
Thank you, Andrew.
Right. Next agenda item is Mr. Berry, 3 Blaisdell Road, located in the Liberty Plain Historic District, to install a cedar fence to enclose the side yard. Mr. Berry is with us. Do you plan to present, or do you want me to present what was shared?
You can go ahead, Dan. That's no issue.
Okay. Blaisdell, I'll let you take it away. I can just flip through for you.
Okay. Excuse me. So this is the view from across the street, standing in my neighbor's driveway. And as you can see, Main Street is to the right, down the road right there. Thank you. And these are just the plantings that were done by the builder. But me and my wife would like a fence there, obviously for their privacy and planning to have a family, so just for safety reasons. There is the house in the background right there. And once again, bringing the 6-foot cedar fence from the house down to Main Street. That is on Main Street looking at the house. And across the street, yeah.
Just one quick question. So you have the fence coming along here. It's not going to actually tie back into the house or connect across, right? You're just starting it at the corner of the house and coming down?
Yeah, I apologize. It will connect to the corner house with a gate right there.
Right. So it comes down off of this corner, across the front, and then just turns. Is there, I don't think there's a fence along here.
No, there will be nothing there. Okay. Currently in that area is just a tree. It's tree lined.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So 6 foot. Oh, and that's right. It's gonna. I don't know why that just did that. So blue is 6 foot tall. Orange, I believe, is 4.
Yeah.
And then this is 4 across this face too.
That's correct.
And then, so is this gate 6 across here then?
Yes.
Okay. fence, cedar. Okay. Painted. There's the transition from the 4 to the 6. And there's our gate coming across. And then, yep, just kind of generally what it would look like across. Okay. Anything else you want to share with us that might be pertinent, or we can open up to questions?
The only other thing I would add is, you know, I didn't put it there, but we would have it 18 inches off of the Blaisdell Street.
Okay. So 18 inches off of your property line?
Correct, yeah.
All right. Any comments from commissioners? We'll start with Josh, because you're right there in front of me.
This is an interesting lot in that it's long and narrow, and the other homes that front Main Street, their backyards are, start essentially halfway down this fence, this proposed fence line, and so the homes on Main Street that have fencing in their backyards, they stop way at minimum, I think, like where the drawing changes from blue to red. So it's to I feel like Dan went to me first because I'm the fence guy.
Oh, you're literally in front of me.
But in these historic neighborhoods, big, tall, severe fencing, especially that's so far forward in a lot, given the location of the other homes on Main Street, I think is really detrimental to the streetscape. And I definitely sympathize for kind of the wonkiness of your lot and wanting to be able to use your yard. But I wonder if there's a potential to do some kind of fencing that might not be so severe, solid, sheer, impossible to see through, but would still give you, some privacy that you're looking for, keep dogs and kids in the yard. So those are just kind of my initial thoughts on kind of the feel of this project and rather the impact on kind of the feel of the historic fabric of the neighborhood. So I'll turn it over to others.
Carol, you've been quiet tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree with Josh. I think if you would consider something that wasn't so fortress-like, I get the dogs and the kids. We live on Main Street too, but something that you could see through the top, or more picket-like at the bottom, or something that would still accomplish what you're trying to do, but not appear to be blockading something. It almost gives a feeling like something's going on we're not supposed to see in there. Just lighter. Have you considered anything else?
Yeah, so just so I'm clear that, we're concerned about the style of the fence. Is it so much as a height thing, or more of this just the style?
I think the solidness of it would be my preference, to open it up bottom and top if possible. If you didn't have to go all the way to 6 feet, that I'd prefer to go a little bit lower. Again, you're very visible. When you go down your street, you're the first house there on the right, and you're very visible to traffic. And I don't I went down there today. I don't think anything else has this kind of a fortress look, but I do understand why you're trying to accomplish that. But if you'd consider something lighter, and maybe not quite 6 feet tall, that would be great.
Okay.
Marianne?
I totally agree with Josh and Carol. You know, I'm certainly one of the closest threads in the fabric of the neighborhood there. And I really feel, you know, it's South Hingham. It was an agrarian area. It's wide open. And I think putting a fence that's softer, less high, fortress-like, it just doesn't fit the vibe of the neighborhood, I don't think. And it gives a sense of, you know, I was going to say buttoned up. I don't really mean that. I just think it's there's a way to preserve privacy creatively without, you know, batten down the hatches in the neighborhood, so to speak. So I think, you know, coming up with a different plan. I mean, do you have a plan for building a pool in that area that you want the 6-foot fence, or so you just want the privacy and dogs and children?
Yeah.
Just to give you context to that, Mr. Berry, Hingham actually has a zoning requirement. The state requirement's 4 foot for a pool, but Hingham's is 6 foot. So that's what the context for that question.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, you know, my thought is if you could get, you know, a little more creative and a little, you know, softer of an impact on the neighborhood, it would do us all some good.
No problem.
I'm just going to pause real quick and just share a couple of examples that
would be great.
Just for context, Mr. Berry,
yeah.
This is one style that's been submitted and approved quite a bit. I just pulled this one because it kind of shows that, you know, more of a picket style that was being top board, bottom board. Obviously a little bit more open. This is another version where, you know, to get some of that transparency and openness, this is called a topper. You can also do this where you space the boards alternating sides. So I think the general feedback that the commission is going to have is a way to preserve some of the openness and balance it, because what jumps out at, I totally understand what you're saying with, I'm going to go back to your presentation. You know, Main Street's way over here. I totally understand the privacy thing. But at the same time, the vast majority of your yard and patio space is way down here. And, you know, this fence line is 265 feet. So maybe this is 200 feet. So the one good thing is you're off of Main Street. You know, so a lot of your privacy definitely benefits from being so far off, and you're kind of, we're very familiar. We approved this building. Most of the commission members here were on the commission when the building got approved not too long ago. So just something to think, just so that when you're coming down this sidewalk, when you're walking around, it just kind of feels a little more open, so that we can kind of see that transparency through here. Obviously, this is a very unique lot and a house squeezed in on a very unique lot. So it's definitely atypical. I think we're probably most sensitive from that public way. You know, what you have here in the orange, I appreciate you keeping that shorter. Definitely, I think as the street gate. So I think we could just go maybe just one step further. So just to keep us going, if any other commission members feel differently, you know, chime in, but I don't want to just say the same thing over again.
I have a couple of other comments.
Go ahead, Catherine.
You said that the fence was going to be 18 inches off the sidewalk, off your property line, so, or off your property line or sidewalk?
There's technically there's no sidewalk there. It's just a street.
So it looks like the trees there, so the fence is going to be on the outside of the trees.
No, the trees would be
further back.
It would go street, trees, then my fence.
Yeah, so you're going to tuck them right behind these ones.
Behind
yes.
Okay, so 18 inches off of the trees then, or 18 inches, or right at the tree?
Well, you got to remember, Kat, there's a right of way that the town has, and then it's his property line, and then it's, yeah.
So it's usually 10 feet, right? Off the town, off the.
No, it's not that much. You can kind of see it in this plan.
Okay.
Can't a fence actually be on the property line?
I thought the fence could be, but I think the town owns that land, so there's like a buffer.
Yeah.
My neighborhood, they own 10 feet of my lawn to the road, between my property line and the road. Okay, and then my
the intent is for it to be approximately at the property line.
Yeah, I would think. My other comment is just perhaps, since it is such a long lot and it looks like there is maybe the shorter part could happen earlier, because 265 feet is long, and maybe, you know, midway, or you could do it in thirds so that you have a third of the tall and then 2/3 of low. I'd love to see a little more creativity with the proportions of it, and opening it up a little bit more that way too.
No issue.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the commission have any other comments? Gary, your hand's still up, or new hand?
New hand, if I could. Thank you. Thank you. Gary Tondorf, 1029 Main Street. I'm an abutter and a resident of Liberty Plain. Also was involved in authoring the historic district back in 88 and 89. I just had a couple of comments and observations. First of all, I wanted to welcome Rich, you and your family to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Oftentimes you don't have a formal introduction in the neighborhood. We usually meet on meetings like this, but anyway, glad to see that you're doing some nice things with your home and yard. Couple of concerns. The adjacent houses on either side of Blaisdell and other houses in the Liberty Plain Historic District, typically if they have privacy fences, very narrow yards, if they have privacy fences that are opaque, they typically start at behind the front wall of the house. So the relationship of the fence to Main Street is secondary or behind the first facade or porch face of the house. And I think that perhaps this fence could, the opaque portion of this fence, if it were to stop at kind of in line with that setback from Main Street, would give you the kind of privacy you need in the wider part of your yard. And then as the yard, I know it's a very unique yard, gets very narrow as it gets towards Main Street. Maybe that it could be a picket fence or something like that that's transparent. The other concern I have is that Main Street along this stretch is very busy and the cars go very fast. And there is a crosswalk across from your property or across from the Spahns who live in the Red Cape that's next to yours immediately north. There is a crosswalk there, which is very heavily used because there isn't a crosswalk nearby. And there's also a crosswalk on Blaisdell, as you can see there. My concern, that's good photo. My concern there is that if the opaque or even low portion of the fence comes to your lot line, which is roughly where the short light colored grass is the lot line. Yeah, there's the old fence with the old house that was there. The cars are basically going to be stopping in the crosswalk in order to see to the north. And I'm concerned about safety there. And see how the house next door on the left there, it's got a fence. See how the left of that house, not that fence there, but to the left of the house, that fence on the right, I don't believe is there right now, but on the left of the house, see how the stockade privacy fence is behind the front of the house and how the house next door. So what you have is you have the streetscape, the visible streetscape all along, and it's very transparent. I'm concerned driving or walking north that if this fence was opaque, even short, like 3 or 4 feet, right along your property line, which is about 5 feet in from Blaisdell pavement, I'm concerned that as you're driving along, it's going to be a wall that's going to block the streetscape view of the Spahns house, which is that beautiful red cape, 1740 cape right on the right, that photograph there. And it just, that troubles me. I think that the whole reason we did the basis of the district was to maintain the view of all these capes going along Main Street. And so I would just add that into the commentary about how far the fence, how close it comes to Main Street. And was wondering, is there an opportunity where you could do a picket fence in the short or the low fence, do a very transparent picket fence like exists along other properties on this area of Main Street, and maybe do some short plantings inside the fence. You see how in that house, see how the fence, all the fences are behind the front of the house. And then the Liberty Plain Cemetery fence, of course, which is on the sidewalk, because that's the oldest property in this area other than the Spahns house. That's very transparent. You hardly even see that fence. And see how transparent the streetscape is? There are really no fences that come to the sidewalk on Main Street. So and this one here, very transparent, very low fence, but see how they've done the privacy fence in the back so they can get use of, the house on the right there is very similar in its relationship to the lot as yours. It's a very narrow lot and they have a very small backyard. So they did a privacy fence, but the fence is behind the front wall of the house. I just thought I'd offer that because I think it would make it the cadence of your house, how it fits into the streetscape. I think it would be very nice, but I think a wall, all of a sudden you go, oh, wait a minute, that's a barrier. It doesn't look as like it's, you kind of like want to make it look like it was always there.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? I just offer that as just constructive suggestions.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah. Well,
so I would say, based on the feedback, we should probably continue continue your application to our next meeting.
Okay.
Certainly up to you, but I think given the feedback, I think there's some modifications that would be beneficial. Also, as you're going through the permeations, Andrea is a great resource. Obviously, Gary's a neighbor. You know, he used to sit on this commission, sits on the planning board, so he always has good thoughts. But certainly, you can run things by Andrea ahead of the next meeting. That's what she's there. Use her as a resource. So I don't want to drag this out, but I think general feedback is just trying to scale, visibility, I think are the biggest things.
Great. I appreciate everybody's time.
All right. We'll see you at our next.
Chairman, I just wanted to say, you did a fine job on that application.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, actually, lovely. As far as fence applications, thorough, incomplete.
Outstanding.
So that's usually we're drawing lines on where the fences are going. So it was definitely very helpful. So good package.
And color coded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So we'll see you at the June meeting then.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so 7:45, we're going to do things a little out of order. We're going to do meeting minutes for the next 15 minutes until our 8 o'clock item. So we have 2 weeks of meeting minutes to get to, and the first ones are from, pull them up, from 2 meetings ago.
No, just, yeah.
I see April 23.
Yeah.
We have April 23, and then we didn't approve the March ones.
Because we were running late last time.
And also we had like nobody left. Most of the members that were there weren't there that night. So I'm going to pull those ones up first. All right. Here are the March 21st, 2024 meeting minutes. Looks like we had myself, Justin, Catherine, Carol, and Eric, and Josh and Mary Ann were present. So any commentary or feedback on the meeting minutes from March 21st, 2024?
That was your coin one, Dan, right?
No, I have the other one in track changes.
Okay.
It's our next one. So hearing no comments, is there any interest in a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Historic District Commission meeting minutes of March 21, 2024.
As presented.
As presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Carol seconds. Any discussion? Justin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Catherine?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
An aye for me. All right. Pivot to the next one.
Now we're April 23.
Correct. So I have.
And I'm correctly listed as absent at that meeting.
Let's take a look.
Oh, that's the,
So yes, Justin,
That's
Catherine, and
the
Carol were
agenda.
absent.
And but you've got the agenda up on the screen.
Oops. How about now?
There we go.
So present were myself, Eric, Josh, and Mary Ann. Justin, Catherine, and Carol were absent. I have one edit to the meeting minutes that were circulated. Page 5, just editing as you see here in track changes, just adjusting the spelling of coins and coining.
We can make Historic District Commission flashcards.
Can I just add a comment to the spelling of coin? I just looked it up. And it also can be spelled as Quoin, but Robin was also correct in that, you know, and not that Google is always great, but it's coins, and it gives an image of a coin on the corner of a building. So there's lots of variations.
And I just Googled for is Google great, and it says yes.
You can reject my modifications, but I've never spelled it that way.
That's interesting, Mary Ann.
That is my proposed amendment, but take it or leave it. I only took 2 architecture classes. I defer to Eric.
That is a nice distinctive spelling, though. It's very clear that it is not something in your
How do you
pocket.
spell it, Eric?
Yeah.
You're the resident architect on the commission. How do you spell it?
I've only seen it with a Q, but I would not stand on that by any means. So
Gary, let's know.
Let's settle the tie. Gary?
Always seen it as Quoin. So the other is money, and this is a scale and architectural treatment.
Thanks, Mary Ann, though, for checking. Are there any other comments on the meeting minutes? Is there anybody that would like to make a motion?
Can I make a motion if I haven't been there? For approval?
I'd rather somebody that was there make the motion.
I move for approval of the meeting minutes dated April 23, 24 as presented.
Is there
with the coin change, though?
Oh, sorry, not as presented. With the editing of the spelling of coins.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Marianne. Discussion? None? Eric, how do you vote?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
It's an aye for me, so the minutes pass. I will email those back to you.
Okay. Can I just comment on our wonderful Robin? I mean, for somebody, you know, I mean, this language is strange, you know, that we have to use. And I have to say, I have very few corrections. I mean, I go through them and it's zip, zip, quick. So.
But they are very well written, and I
Yeah, they're very
had to
well
write
written.
minutes in the past, and it's hard to do. It's really
Yeah.
hard.
You are the
He's a pro.
best.
Oh,
He's a
thank
pro.
you so much.
Maybe we should-
It's a lot easier because I can watch it over and over.
I bet the video must help a lot.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
All right, we have 7 more minutes, so I'll give a question. I was unfortunately unable to attend due to prior engagements, but Andrea, I know you were there. How was the grand opening celebration for the Lincoln House?
Well, actually, Justin was there as well.
Good.
So you can, you want to give your.
It was a wonderful event, super well attended, and it was quite wonderful, actually. Trying to think of their.
I heard you guys. They
Can you
didn't
give us
trust
some
you
more
guys to
detail,
go
Justin?
inside, though.
No.
We didn't go inside during the event. Very fortunately, we had the site visit to lean on, and where we'd seen the inside. One of my strongest memories of that site visit was hearing about the Museum of Fine Arts conservators who came in and inspected all this furniture and found secret drawers and compartments and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And everybody from the Historic Society would see the Museum of Fine Arts people open something up and they, whoa, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a treat to get that from Deirdre, that little tour from Deirdre. That was a treat.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they did have, subsequent to that, our site visit, they also had an open house, which I think was also pretty well attended. And so it was though it was on the first floor only, but there were people talking in each of the rooms, and I think that was really very helpful. So
it's alive. The house is alive and well. It's great.
Yes, and hopefully, unfortunately, they went before the ZBA just earlier this week, and it was remember they have they wanted to put in the air conditioners. Unfortunately, the units, we approved those behind the fence. But unfortunately, they're within the setback. So they have to come up with another place to put them. One suggestion is on the back part of the roof, and another would be perhaps build a shed in the back and put them further back. But then you'd have to get it connected to the house somehow. So so there we have that. And then also the Architectural Access Board, I think they mentioned that they have to go before them because they want them to put an elevator in the house.
Oh, no.
And so, they've looked at possibilities of putting it on the exterior, but in any event, and they also have plans for how to allow people to see what's on the second floor. And so they've got that well thought out, but unfortunately, the Architectural Access Board, I was shocked. They don't make a site visit. And so, these people opine on, these wonderful situations, this house, and they haven't seen it. So I just think that's outrageous. So I don't know, hopefully they will not be required to put an elevator in. So.
Andrea, can I add something there?
Yeah.
The Dana House up in Woodstock, Vermont, got around that same issue by having a large screen computer set up, and you can sit in your wheelchair or with your children, whatever the problem is, and watch the whole upstairs, and you can control it. So I didn't see enough of that blue room. Let's go back there or whatever. And you can turn it around and you can see every piece of furniture. And I think it's a wonderful way to handle that. I mean, we all want people to be able to get everywhere, but wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're probably looking at here is the Ames Chapel, and you know, I look at some of the other properties like the Forbes house on Milton Hill, where they went through a similar process and they ultimately put in a lift. So it's something that I think that the from what I experience on the planning board is that the regulations are becoming more conservative or more strict relative to as we move forward, and so thereby the policy is to not grant as many or any variances. That's been my experience, irrespective of the context of this specific situation.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It just seems I can't even imagine. I mean, they've talked about putting an elevator shaft external to the house, and then having to you know, make access from the back or the side from that elevator shaft. But nevertheless, it's just really gonna do a job on the house. It's unfortunate. So hopefully, plus that it costs a freaking fortune, right? To put an elevator in.
Oh yeah.
And to
maintain it.
Pardon?
Getting these elevators serviced is a real big
Terrible.
on the
Elevator service is very consuming.
Okay, so there's that. Anyway, the other thing that was so nice about that reception is that the whole you know, all of the relatives of the beverages and the you know, Rosie and Charlie and their families, and there were a lot of people there who had made their home in that house over the years, and so they were all invited and they all came. So it was really, really nice. It was just a nice thing. So okay. Oh, and great hors d'oeuvres. Hello.
For great order. Oh, and quick elevator shaft. Fun fact:
yeah, go ahead.
The lighthouse that is in the vicinity of Logan Airport is apparently a disguised elevator shaft from an old hotel.
Really?
And it was wrapped in a lighthouse, you know, garment meant to mimic Sankaty Light on Nantucket.
Oh my goodness.
And this quote unquote lighthouse actually had to be turned. The Coast Guard came in and said, this looks too much like a lighthouse. And it's not a lighthouse. Turn the light off because you'll distract sailors.
Oh. Wow.
That's what speaking, but that elevator shaft is what made me think of the lighthouse at Logan Airport.
Yes, we see the segue.
Yes, it was a little bit of a long way around the barn.
Yeah. Oh gosh, sometimes. Yes, you're very creative, Justin.
Justin, I saw a photo of you at the Lincoln House opening, deep in conversation, and I could just hear in my head you regaling somebody with historical factoids. I just knew that was what was going on.
A llama joke.
A llama joke?
There are several different kinds of llamas. There's a 1L llama, a 2L llama, and a 3L llama. The 1L llama is the spiritual leader of Tibet. 2L llama is the ruminant pack animal of South America. Yeah, and the 3L llama is a wicked big fire in Revere.
Oh,
So that might have been the photo.
yeah, good one.
Yeah.
So,
All right, with that, it's 8:02.
Yay.
So I don't see our applicant on the call, so. Um,
Mr. Sella is not here.
yeah, I'll give him another minute. So, Andrew, you know what I noticed on
On what?
oh, nothing, never mind.
See, I have to say, Daniel calls me up at about, what was it, 5 o'clock or 4:30 and says, why is there an hour between the 3 Blaisdell and 1020 Main Street? I said, whoa, I don't know. You know, just it must have been a typo or something. But anyway, so we used it. We did good.
Yep.
Gary, do you still have your hand up?
I do.
Do you want to talk or are you done?
Yeah, I'd love to talk. You know, I love to talk.
Well, before we jump into that, Gary,
Sure.
Andrea, the way I look
Yes.
at this is the application is dated 4/7, 60 days, correct?
This is, he submitted a brand new application for last month.
Yeah, which is dated 4/7.
Okay.
So it's 60 days without.
Yeah, 60 days.
What's that?
It is 60 days. We have 60 days to act on it.
Yep, so our next meeting will be outside the 60 days. So the way I look at this is we asked for additional information. We asked for an updated application with further information for the application for demolition. We also asked for further information and justification because it was identified as a non-contributing building. I think the commission provided a lot of feedback as to why we believe that the building is a contributing asset to the districts. So there's really 3 things we're looking for: is an updated application, either a different reasoning or additional information for the demolition, and also additional information and further clarification from the structural engineer who provided a summary letter to Mr. Anton about the house. We have not received any of that, correct?
We have not. Mr. Sella seems to have disappeared. If I may, this was the situation 2 years ago when Mr. Sella applied to demolish the house and had plans for a brand new house. And so I explained to him what we would need. And so the month went by. He did not provide anything in terms of, you know, from a structural engineer or any other information. And so I called him and I said, I can't put you on the agenda. And so I gave him the date of the next meeting and even sent him reminders, but just ghosted me. So, and that was the last I heard for 2 years. Then he showed up with this, wanted to reprise his request to demolish the house and came with somewhat of a different sketch of what he plans to do. So I mean, this is
Can I ask
time
a
number
question?
2.
I have a question for Andrea. You did notify him of the meeting for tonight?
Oh, of course.
Just checking, for the record.
He got an agenda like every other every other applicant.
Okay. So I share with the commission, there are, in my mind, 3 options. One, we continue this to the next meeting, and which would require that Mr. Sella reach out to Andrea and file an extension for this application. Option 2, which was done previously, is that we could make a motion to deny the application without prejudice, so that it could be resubmitted at a later date by
Daniel, we would need to get an extension. So he would have to sign an extension agreement. So I'd have to contact him. And if he didn't comply, and we didn't get the extension, then it would be constructively approved because we didn't deny it. So that's a risk.
Thank you for that clarification, Andrea. So those are the options that are in front of us. Weigh those as you be, and we'll hear from Mr. Thorndorf. Dick, I believe you wish to provide a comment for the record.
Yes, if I could. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to say that I appreciate the time and energy and effort and patience that you as the Historic District Commission members have put into this application. And I just want to speak primarily as a direct abutter, who's also been in touch with and in very, very frequent contact with many of the abutters and neighbors, some of whom are shy about joining public hearings. But there's a very strong degree of angst in the neighborhood right now about the condition of this house. And one of our concerns is that there are rodents in the house, in the cellar, because the windows are open. There are rodents around the yard. There are rat traps all around the yard. The grass is currently about 18 inches tall. It's decrepit. Nothing's happening. There is, however, a sign out front for a roofing company, which I don't know. It's on the public property of the town. I don't know where it came from, but nonetheless, we're very concerned about this house has been abandoned now for going on 4 years. And it's become a safety hazard, and it's a real threat to the integrity of the neighborhood. And the direct abutters have come to me as a member of the planning board because they think perhaps I could help them deal with this. And they're basically beside themselves as to what's going on here. They're living with this decrepit house. It's 15 feet from their side windows. And there are, I mean, the level of stress and angst is incredible. And I just want to bring that to your attention because I know that, you know, we did a site visit and you saw the condition of the house. And, you know, I think it clearly is not structurally deficient, but that's another story at this point. Our concern is that if it keeps going on with postponements.
Now, Gary, do you mean it is not structurally deficient?
I don't think it's structurally deficient at all. And I say that as a licensed architect with 45 years of experience. As a licensed, I've been registered for 45 years and I've dealt with many buildings in my time. There's nothing structurally deficient about this house, with the exception of about half of the rear sheathing boards on the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Not structural.
But it is open to the weather and outside and to animals.
The roof itself, even though it looks terrible, the roof is only leaking at the valleys at the 2 dormers. It's not leaking anywhere else. And I looked at the whole place very close, took a lot of pictures at the site visit. I also remember the house 4 years ago when it was before he owned it, when the other people down at the Cape owned it and didn't take care of it. And there was an elderly lady with her handicapped son in the house. And you know, I told her, you don't have to live like this. And so, I mean, this has been, not only is it a depressing eyesore, it's now a health hazard for all of us in the neighborhood. There's a lot of children moving, families with children in the neighborhood. The mailbox is right in front of this house. So if you want to mail a letter, you're going to walk right right adjacent to this mess. And I'm just concerned that we have rodents completely in the cellar. I don't think they're destroying the upper part of the house, but the cellar windows are wide open. The other problem is the septic system is leaking into the cellar. It's a cesspool. The whole house is in need. If they were to tear this house down, they'd not be able to rebuild it because they'd lose the benefit of the Hatfield. It's pre-existing non-conforming. But anyway, that's another subject. My primary concern tonight, I just wanted to share with you the concern of the neighbors. And we just don't, you know, Mike Clancy's been incredibly helpful. He got rid of that stupid storage box that was in the front that had animals in it. And, you know, it took him a while to contact this person. The other problem that bothers us as a neighborhood is that Mr. Sella lives at 82 Gardner Street. He lives 9 houses away from this house. He passes this house every day when he goes to his restaurant, which is the Strawberry Fair, which he just bought. He goes to this house, past this house every day. And everybody who drives, I get comments from people coming into him, you know, down Gardner Street. The first impression of Main Street that they see in Gardner is this decrepit house. Now, I know that's not as important as rodents and the safety on the neighbors, but I appreciate you giving me the time. We just want to figure out how can we move this forward. Our concern is that he doesn't seem to think he has to comply with the rules and the bylaws. And, you know, we want to have a successful situation here. You know, if he wants to be a cooperative neighbor, we'd like to help him. But we're stuck, you know, and we're living through we're coming into the hot summer months. I walk with my granddaughter every day in front of this house, and I say, and she looks at it. She says to me, Papa, this is the scary house. She's 4 years old.
Well, Gary, what are you trying?
I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her it was a scary house.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate the comments. So I think that where we're at is this is the second, this is actually our commission's second application. There was originally an application that was removed without prejudice for information to be provided and additional it's in the town's best interest to let the continuance go at the risk of us not taking action and the application not being acted on by our committee. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but if we don't act on it, it's considered as approved.
Yes.
Thank you. So really, in my mind, to the commission to weigh and ponder is a motion for either remove the application without prejudice or deny the application is what's in front of us tonight.
Actually, from what I've heard so far, I'd be happy to make the motion to remove the application without prejudice. So I will make that motion.
You're certainly welcome. Anybody can make the motion. I'm
making that motion.
Is there any ability to discuss what the practical effects of these motions are?
Yeah, so if the motion is made without prejudice, the application can be resubmitted at any time. If we deny the motion, or the application. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Andrea, there is a 2-year window in which the applicant cannot resubmit the same application for 2 years. Is that correct?
I'm not sure that it's that long, but I think there's a waiting period.
Well, I think our intent is not to foreclose the process. We want engagement, and we are not seeing engagement.
But it's also wasting our time.
And it's wasting our time.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
No.
So my only familiarity with I tried before I was on the commission, I tried to buy a house that was historic. I think they came before the commission asking for an application to demolish the house, and the commission denied it. They were able to demolish the house anyway. And so I was, what is the practical effect of a denial? Does it just start a clock on a demolition delay? Or?
Well, Josh, in that case, that must have been a house that was not in an historic district.
Okay.
If it was on the inventory, then the only remedy is demolition delay. In an historic district, if the commission denies an application, that's the end of it. There's no delay. There's nothing. So
it cannot be demolished, Andrea. Is that right?
That's correct. I mean, yeah, if it's in an historic district, which of course this is, if it were not, the best we could do is string it out to 6 months, almost a year. And then the person can just go and do whatever he wants.
But he can't do whatever he wants. He won't be able to demolish it, but he would have to come before the districts to do anything to it. And what kind of leverage do we have to get the eyesore remedied? Nothing through the commission.
No.
But we can prevent the application from being approved by inactive default.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why your motion.
And so I would reassert my motion, I guess.
Well, the other thing too, I think this is an easily defended decision because we have a time constraint. We have to act within 60 days. And the next meeting is not within the 60-day period. So we really have no choice. We have also asked for additional information on several occasions, and it has not been forthcoming. So that's what I'd put in the denial.
I just wanted to double check.
And it's a denial without prejudice is the right vocabulary?
Two different. Denial without prejudice is what we did previously, and mean that the application can come back before us at any point.
Without a time
without any time period. I am looking. I know there is a difference. And I apologize as the chair for not having this in front of you or in front of me tonight, but there is a time period, and and if you give me 1 second,
I would say just to be, I mean, we could not be accused of being vindictive. Or trying to thwart his efforts if we deny without prejudice.
I think that's the way to go. And we want the home to be loved up and improved upon. And this is it remains an open invitation for that. I think that's the way.
And it does convey our cooperation.
Yeah.
Dinner ready?
I can make that motion.
Actually, Justin already did. We need.
No, he kind of did, but I entertain a motion at this point.
He did make a motion.
Not really. It was kind of, if we could just make a clean motion, I'd appreciate
I'll
it.
make a clean motion.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to deny without prejudice the application for a certificate of appropriateness for 1020 Main Street, located in the Liberty Plain Local Historic District, to demolish the existing home and construct a new home.
Seconded.
All right. My discussion is, I was looking for that full language.
Okay.
That was really good. That was really good.
Yeah.
So that's a motion made and
Sometimes I
seconded.
get it.
Any discussion?
Does it matter, Chairman? I think the application was just for the demo, not the new addition.
Correct. Yeah, this time it was. So we just mentioned the demo, not to construct a new house.
I do have one little question. Would it benefit the commission and Mr. Sella to convey that even if the home were to be demolished, that something very similar or exactly to its specs would be expected in replacement? Because the idea that there's going to be this mega mansion on that lot is
I think that the Mr. Thornduff did provide in his public comment previously that there are limitations. That's what can be put on the building or on the lot is a little bit outside of our purview. That's a planning board zoning question. But I do believe that there was feedback provided to that. And I do know that Andrea has provided feedback on what the commission would be looking for in a new construction if that or the demo application was ever happened to be approved, to give them the full context.
Thank you.
I could, because the house has been abandoned for more than 2 years, they can't reestablish the use unless they get a special permit. And also in that process, they lose their ability to take advantage of the Hatfield Amendment, which allows them to rebuild, grandfathers the existing site, the existing nonconformity of the setbacks. Any new construction would have to meet the current zoning setbacks. If you had to meet a 35-foot front yard setback from Main Street and a 35-foot front yard setback from Scotland Street,
Never happened.
You couldn't build a shed.
Yeah. Okay.
So and I tried to make that point, so he would understand that. But
thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
So we have a motion that's been made and seconded. Any further discussion from commission members? Okay, so the three voting members for this are Eric, Josh, and myself. Eric, how do you vote?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
It's an aye for me. So the motion is denied without prejudice. Andrea, if you want to attempt to reach out to Mr. Sella to update him, and we will see where this goes.
Yeah. Agreement with that, but I could be wrong. So
well,
I just don't want to.
If I could briefly, there are two applications here. If a residence is in a retail or a commercial district like downtown overlay district, if the use is abandoned for 4 years, the residential use cannot be reestablished. That's the 4-year time frame. And I talked to Mike Clancy about this.
Okay.
If a residence is, if the use of a residence is conforming with the residential district, which the district within which it exists, which is a residential district, then if it's abandoned for more than 2 years, you can't reestablish the use. And this property has been abandoned for over 3+ years, 3.5 years. Abandonment, discontinuance of use, it's not occupied. Abandonment is it can't be occupied, meaning the utilities are shut off. And the data I'm referencing here is the shut off of the water, gas, and electric, which I've confirmed with the utility company. So I tried
Okay, gotcha.
in Mr. Sella last meeting, it's not in his best interest to tear this house down. And clearly not in the districts either, but I don't know if he was listening to me or not, but we're trying to do him a favor on that. But now that I know.
I think we're all trying, Gary. I think he's got, yeah.
But patience we don't have the patience of Job either. And I'm just the health aspects of this are really bad. So we could probably take it to the other folks who deal with it.
Well, I sympathize, unfortunately, outside of our jurisdiction.
I understand. And I appreciate your listening to me.
All right, thanks, Gary. All right, that's our agenda for tonight, but I do know, Andrea, we are going to have a site visit between now and our next meeting.
Oh, yes, because we will have the 107 Main Street, the parish house, the garage, the old garage. The new one is currently being built, which we approved along with the whole house design. The garage in the back, Ben Wilcox was nice enough to go out and take a look, and he wrote something up basically about that, which I'll just send out to everybody before that. But so we need to look and see whether you're going to approve the demolition of that garage. The other thing is Daniel and I went out and based on the plans determined that part of the new barn that they're building in the back between the Lincoln School apartments and their house is going to be seen somewhat, right, Daniel?
Yeah, you'll be able to see from the public way a portion of the structure, and we asked them ahead of the meeting to do story polls so we could see it from the street for context.
So I'll remind her of that, and then so I'll just set up a site visit prior to our next meeting.
I think that's the only site visit we have, right, Andrea?
I think so.
Okay, and then we do have not that heavy of a meeting next month, right? The Wiley's will be on it, and
well, Mr. Fopiano from Main Street.
Yep.
Wants to put up a fence, and so I told him he had to come, and I just couldn't approve it. The last time I spoke to them was when they applied and we approved that little segment of fence that's, if you face the house to the left of it, that Daniel was showing tonight. And I made it clear at that point that they needed to get rid of that, and they haven't. And so I just have to go over and knock on their door and I don't know, or do something, but that's my fault.
All right. With that, motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Nobody wants to go. Is there a second?
We need to vote.
Oh, I thought I seconded.
Yeah, Josh did.
All right, there's a second. All right, discussion. Andrea, or not Andrea, sorry. Catherine.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Eric. Josh.
Aye.
And Justin and I for me.
Aye.
Marianne, thank you, everybody. We'll do it again in a month.
Very good.
Thank you, Robin.
Good night, all.
Good
Yeah.
night.